Hello and welcome back to another Firestorm Games unboxing, and in this video we're taking a look at the latest release from Games Workshop, which is of course Warhammer Quest: The Silver Tower. Now this is the modern reimagining of Warhammer Quest, and it's been brought into the most recent incarnation of Warhammer, which is of course Age of Sigmar, and this is most clearly signified by the fact that we have a Sigmarine on the front. Sorry, I should call them Sigmarites, not Sigmarines, and also we've got the Fire Slayer just over here as well, among all the other villains and heroes that you get in this box set. So flipping the set over, we can see the contents of the game. Of course, we get all of these miniatures, dice, counters, tokens, everything in there. And we can also see some of the painted examples, some of the fantastic miniatures that we've got in this set. So the contents is a 40-page guidebook, 40-page adventure book, 13 double-sided board tiles, 36 skill and treasure cards, 40 exploration cards, 6 hero character cards, and also we get the miniatures, which is a Gaunt Summoner, 6 hero characters, a Gryph-hound, Ogroid Thaumaturge, 6 Sangors, 8 Carrick Acolytes, 2 Skaven Death Runners, 8 Grot Scutlings, 2 Pink Horrors, 4 Blue Horrors, 4 pairs of Brimstone Horrors, and 8 Chaos Familiars. So plenty of miniatures in this box set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this review into 2 parts. Part 1 will just be focusing on the miniatures themselves, and Part 2 I'll be looking at the rest of the contents of the game, such as the cards and the rulebook. So first of all, let's get this box opened. So here we have the contents of the box, which relates to all of the miniatures, and first things first, we have the instruction booklet. Now this is a guide on how to assemble both your heroes and your adversary miniatures that you get in this set. And if I just open this up, you can see that everything is really nicely diagrammed and explained. All the parts are individually lettered and numbered, so you know exactly which piece goes with which. Everything's very nice and clear to follow. Now one thing you may notice is that this is all in black and white compared to some of the recent instruction booklets we've been looking at, and there isn't really any painted examples in here or any stat lines for use in Age of Sigmar. However, this isn't such a problem because there is some full colour examples of ththese painted miniatures in the other rulebooks. So this brings us on to the next item, which is of course the bases, and we've got a range of 25mm and also 30mm bases in there. And finally we have the sprues themselves. Now some of them, for example this the priest here is on a single sprue, which you actually might recognise as being similar in size to the individual clan packs that we get. Others are on these kind of strange frames which consist of 4 sprues, such as some of the heroes there, and also the Thaumaturge and the Relictor there as well. And we also get the rest of the adversaries on these 2 large sprues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and take a closer look at these. So first things first, we have the Gaunt Summoner, who is the main adversary in Silver Tower. Now this is very much the same as the current existing Gaunt Summoner, as you can see here by the face there. You can see that we've got these kind of shards coming out the head and all the eyes sculpted onto themselves. We've got some really nice kind of Tzeentch iconography as well. We've got these feathers that go on the front of the robe. We've got these kind of beaky kind of bird-like shoulder pauldrons as well. We've got the obligatory staff, and it's very much in its kind of very Tzeentch style. You've got the book here as well, very nicely detailed, some very ornate stylings, especially in the cuirass that you can see here. So the other item that we've got on the sprue here is the Fire Slayer, which you can see at the bottom. Very typical of the other Fire Slayers that we've already looked at on this channel. We've got the large mane, the beards, we've got all of the runic iconography. We've even got the runes that are embedded into the skin themselves. So very much in fitting with the other miniatures that we've already looked at. Next we have the Tenebrael Shard here, which is the Dark Elf. And he's very much kind of assassin in its life. We've got lots of chains, lots of spikes, very much in the typical Dark Elf or Aelf, however you want to pronounce the new naming of them. Very nice indeed, very fluid in its motion as well. You can see here we've got kind of leaping from these small tentacles at the bottom there as well. So next up we also have the Mistweaver, and I particularly like this miniature. I like all the smoke effects that you can see on the miniatures. We've got this smoke plume which is actually rising from at the bottom. We've got sort of smoke coming from the staff itself, quite a thin staff there, so be very careful not to break that when it's in use. Really nice sculpting as always, this kind of plastic typical of what we've already seen in other Age of Sigmar sets. So let's move on to the next sprue. So here we have the sprue for the Excelsior War Priest, and as you can see on here we've got all of the typical Sigmarite iconography. We've got the twin-tailed comet hammer, it's very much styled on Galmaraz. We've got another hammer, more hammers, and oh yes, more hammers. We've also got the twin-tailed comet just on the chest there. Really nice detailing in these lightning bolts that come in from the robes as well. Particularly like the fact that we've also got the little Gryph-hound as well, which is kind of the little griffin dog that accompanies the War Priest. And of course we've got the book, which is no doubt full of Sigmar scriptures. So let's move on to the next sprue. So here we have the Knight Quester that we've already seen on the front of the Silver Tower box, and this really is your typical Sigmarite. It's very much the same as what you've already seen. He's got his hammer and lightning bolt motif on the shield there, the same kind of armor as the other Sigmarites, the typical lion shoulder pauldron there as well. It really wouldn't look out of place fighting amongst your other Sigmarites. So next up we have the Darkoath Chieftain. Now this is the typical barbarian that you always seem to get in these kind of games. He's adorned with his typical bones and also furry boots, and he's got his large axe and also his sword there. Now this is kind of very much styled along the lines of a marauder. However, he's not really kind of covered in chaos iconography. He's not necessarily affiliated with the Chaos Gods, but you can definitely see his northern influences. So here we have one of the larger miniatures in Silver Tower, and this is the Ogre Thaumaturge. Now this miniature is more of a Minotaur than an Ogre, and you can see here by his cloven hooves there, and also the large horns which adorn his head there as well. Now one of the things I really like about this miniature is the fact that the tattoos have been sculpted onto the miniature itself. Now this makes life so much easier when you come to paint them, because you can just follow these guidelines. You don't have to do everything freehand. I also quite like some of the detailing on the staff here. You can see the skull here, which is the horned skull. And we've also got these bolts of energy that are sparking out, and you can see the same on the other half as well. Really nice miniature overall. So now we've looked at some of the heroes and also some of the larger miniatures, let's move on to the rest of the adversaries. So here we have one of the large sprues that we get in this set, and as we get two of these, everything you see on here you actually get two of. So first things first, we have these brimstone horrors in the top right there. Now these are what happens when a pink horror splits into two blue horrors, and then a blue horror splits into these when killed. We also got some of the Grot Scutlings over here, and these are the four-legged Grots that have been warped by the pack that inhabit the bottom of the Silver Tower and have been warped over time by the ruinous powers of Tzeentch. We also get to one of the Karak Acolytes as well. Really like these miniatures. They're very much Egyptian themed. It's typical of Tzeentch. All of the kind of iconography that you see throughout Warhammer and Age of Sigmar is kind of permeated by this Egyptian, almost like cultist look. So we also have some of the familiars in this top corner as well. You can see this kind of strange legged book, which is one of the familiars employed by the Gaunt Summoner. And we also get one of the shield for the Karak Acolytes as well. So moving on to this bottom left corner, we can see some more of the Karak Acolytes. Now we actually get 4 different variations of them. So some of them are armed with shields. We've got this one guy here who has this kind of head gear going on. We've got the staff just down at the bottom there as well. We also have a couple of the other familiars as well. So we've got this tiny little guy here who's this moon headed creature. Also got this weird fish with legs as well at the bottom. So very strange constructs that Tzeentch has been creating in his Silver Tower. We also can see some of the blue horrors here as well. This typical kind of snarling, smiling face and the multiple arms that you can see as well. So this brings us to the bottom right corner. Now this section of the sprue features some more blue horrors, and you can just see down here. We also get another familiar as well, which is this little bird-headed robed figure just in the centre there as well. Now we also get some of the Zangors in this set. Now I really like the Zangors. They're this kind of like avian-like beastman. You've got the cloven hooves, the typical of beastman. However, you have these more bird-like heads, as you can just about see there as well. So this brings us to the final quarter of the sprue, which features the considerably larger pink horror of Tzeentch, and you can see here we've got the multiple arms and also all the feather iconography as well. We also get some of the Grot Scutlings as well. Got quite a few of them in the set, and there's just some of the other halves. We also get the Skaven Death Runner as well. You can see here, really like this miniature. It's quite different from the other miniatures we see in the set. It's been sent in there for its own nefarious needs, but it is a character that you'll face off against. We've got all these spikes that adorn his tail and go down his back as well, and a rather brutal looking blade there as well. Now all of these miniatures in the set are made from really high quality plastic. The detailing is really fantastic, as we always come to expect with these miniatures. Now one of the things you may have noticed with me looking across the sprue, you may have noticed that a lot of these parts and miniatures come in single poses. Now this isn't really too bad when you're just playing a game, because you're only ever going to get 2 of each one. However, if you wanted to use them in Age of Sigmar, however, then you're probably going to find yourself running out of poses pretty quickly. However, apart from that, it's a really nice selection of miniatures. We get some familiar ones, such as the Death Runners and also the Horrors as well. But we also get some miniatures that we've not really seen before, such as the Karak Acolytes, the Grot Scutlings, and also some of the Zangors, which I really like as well. So now that we've looked at all of the miniatures, let's zoom out and get an overall summary for this set. So that concludes our review of the miniatures of Warhammer Quest Silver Tower. I have to say I'm a really big fan of the new miniatures that we've got in here. It's really nice to see that Tzeentch is actually getting a look in for once, as opposed to Nurgle and Khorne that have been the kind of the most focused on Chaos Gods in the last year or so. And after seeing just how nice these miniatures are, such as the Zangors and the Karak Acolytes, it'd be really nice if these miniatures actually got their own lines at some point in the future. But for the time being, we do really get a nice set of miniatures that work perfectly with Warhammer Quest itself, and also just as well by using them in your Age of Sigmar games. Now, one of the things that was interesting to see when unboxing this was the fact that a lot of the heroes actually came in their own individual sections of sprues, very similar in size to the ones that we see within the clan pack. So it's kind of interesting to see in the future if we also get some of those heroes being released separately. Now, if this first look at the miniatures has already tempted you into picking up Silver Tower, do head on over to the Firestorm Games web store, where it's currently on sale for £80.75, as opposed to the £95 RRP of the game, which is an excellent saving if you ask me. Now, also be sure to stay tuned for our next review as well, which will be looking at the content such as the cards and the rulebook and all the game tiles as well. So I'll pop a link in the description as well once that video goes live. And until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.